Hey guys, it's Marcie. I am shooting from my car. You are seeing my steering wheel because I'm about to take you on a tour of Robinson Street. A tour, a drive, whatever you want to call it. I'm excited about this one because Robinson Street is the best way, in my opinion, to get across Norman. And there are a few reasons for that, but hopefully you'll see those reasons as we take a drive. So I'm Marcie Billen. I'm a real estate agent in Norman, Oklahoma, and let's go. All right, here's our trusty helper. We're going to drive Robinson today. So we're out near-ish the lake on 72nd in East Norman. So this is the country, guys. So before we head, oops, just hit the camera. Before we head into town, we're gonna see a lot of this before we hit around 24th, and we'll see some other subdivisions as well before that. But this is what it looks like to live way out in East Norman. So this is just a little two-laned road, and it'll get bigger, of course, once we hit houses and more subdivisions. There's just not very many people who live out here. And if you do live in parts of East Norman, like if you decide to move out here and buy land, in many areas you have to have at least 10 acres in order to build a house because of the way that they want Norman to be developed. All right, so right here we're at 60th Avenue Northeast. That's the intersection. No stoplights, just a stop sign. Bit of rolling terrain here, not too much. Norman's a pretty flat city. So up on my right is this little neighborhood called Burleson Country Estates. Not very many houses at all, big acreages on their properties. And when I say big around here, the ones that I'll point out to you mostly are between 1 acre and 2 acre lots. But this is still technically Norman. So if you look at the map here, you'll see where Norman's city lines are, and they go all the way past the lake. This intersection is 48th Avenue Northeast and Robinson. 48th Avenue Northeast and Robinson doesn't have a stop sign for those going east and west. So right now we're traveling east and going to the west side of Norman. So Robinson does completely pass 48th. You'll be able to see a few more houses here. People have animals out here, goats, horses, sheep. We are filming on a Saturday morning. There's not too much traffic, although some of the students have come back, but not all of them for OU. A guy mowing his yard. You'll see all different types of houses out here. We've got some new ones, many older houses. Some have been redone, some have not. This is a little church here on our left. It's actually the Korean church. All right, coming up on our right, this is a little area called Frost Creek. It's a new neighborhood and people are building houses in there. The minimum square footage, I think, is around 2,200 square feet. On our left is our water treatment center. People ask me a lot if it's safe to drink Norman city water. I don't know many people who drink it without filtering it if they drink it. Many of our friends also have water delivery services for Ozark Water or something like that as well. Okay, so this is still obviously very kind of rural, but we are about to hit where like the city would begin. But on our right here, this is where Hall Park used to be and where it is. So Hall Park used to be its own little town, and it was incorporated into Norman. So if you look on maps, you'll probably see it. It's basically a neighborhood now. So older houses in there, 1970s, 1980s, and then you're also going to have Hall Brook, which is a new development in Hall Park. Very treed. It's really pretty. Most of the houses are new between like 2005 up to present day, and there's lots of lots available right now here in 2021 as well. So this is 24th Avenue Northeast. So this is kind of where you'll start to see a lot more of actual Norman. Okay, taking off here, we've got houses on my right. Most of these have fairly deep driveways, because they do sit on this main street, which of course did not used to be this large. On my left is J.D. McCarty, which is a hospital. See lots of trees on this side of town too. On some multi-unit properties, but there's also a neighborhood on this side as well. It's an older neighborhood. A lot of the houses are bigger than 1,800 square feet. And then there's another neighborhood on my left called Sonoma Park. A little bit newer houses, mostly built in the 90s and 2000s, I believe. Could be wrong on that, don't quote me. So the intersection we're coming up on is 12th Avenue Northeast. So if I turned right at this intersection, I would hit Walmart? Walmart's the other way. If I turned left at this intersection, I would hit one of our super Walmarts. And then here on my right, we have a 7-Eleven. It's just been redone, and they have some new stuff in there as well. So if you watch my parks video, then you know that there's a big park where people play soccer. There's a big dog park that's coming up on my right. Is that Griffin? Yeah. We don't always know the names for everything living in town. I'm sure you've had that experience in your hometown too. It's just like, oh, that park at 12th and Robinson. And then if I also turned right on the street, I would hit Sutton Wilderness, which is a trail and forest area we have here in town. All right, on the left are it's a very old part of Norman. There's a hospital, there's some old office buildings, but it's been in flux over the past few years, tearing things down and that kind of thing. Some soccer fields on my right. If you have kids or if you play adult soccer, I think, yeah, this is Griffin Community Park. This is the main place you would play in town. There's other fields in other places, but this is one of the main ones. All right, since we're getting close to the hospital, we will see more doctors' offices. So the main hospital, Norman Regional, will be coming up on our left here pretty soon. So that's why you see so many doctors' offices. On our right, we have the election board, and then also our county fairgrounds. Today, the farmers market's going on. We actually already made a stop there. They're getting a new location, so I can't wait to film that for you guys. And then there's also, today, there's a Native American art sale going on inside the fairgrounds as well. Always events, lots of like swap meets and flea markets and things like that. So this intersection is Finley and Robinson, and then of course the fairgrounds. That's what that sign is going to say up there. I know you can't see it very well. Doctor's offices on my left. I know they're planning to no longer use the Norman Regional Hospital, which you can't see right here. It will be something else in the next few years. Okay, so this intersection is Porter and Robinson. If I turned left right here, I would go directly to like old downtown Norman. So taking out from this intersection, if you haven't seen my downtown Norman videos, I'll link them below for you guys. You'll be able to see a little bit more of downtown and things that go on down there. I think I have 3 or 4 sections of that video. This intersection coming up is Peters Avenue. So if you turn left, it's very older neighborhood, lots of cool bungalows going on in there. On my right, this neighborhood's a little bit younger, though not by much, because in core Norman, on my left, you can find houses that were built in the 1940s, 1930s, and then on my right, it's more like 1960s and 1970s. And then on my right here, as we come up on Stubman and Robinson at this light, if we turned right, we would go to Norman North High School, which is one of our 2 high schools here in Norman. This is our beloved underpass. So they built this, I don't know, years ago. It's so when there's a train on the tracks, we can get underneath it to get across town. And that's why you'll see a lot of ambulances come this way through Norman so that they don't get stopped by trains. So this is Flood Avenue in Robinson. Make sure to watch my Flood video. Flood's kind of a strange street in Norman, but it's a really good way to connect from the interstate and not have to take all the east-west streets and the north-south streets through town. So on my right is actually the airport. It's a regional airport, but there's other things as well. It used to be an army base back in the day. And then you'll see houses. These are mostly 1960s, 1970s houses. Some of them are beautifully redone, some are not. This is Berry Road and Robinson. Berry, if you look on the map, goes most of the way through Norman, but stops at Highway 9, may go a little bit past it there. And on my right, you just kind of see this sort of open area. That's because that's where that airport is. And then on my left, there will be houses. There's an apartment complex coming up. And then this intersection that we're coming up to is not a major intersection, but it is Woods and Robinson Street. On our left is one of our golf courses in Norman, Westwood. And then we have other things that go along with this golf course as well. One of them is going to be tennis courts. They are coming up on my left as well. And we also have a water park in Norman, and that sits on the west end of this golf course. And then coming up on our right is going to be our Target shopping area. So we have a couple of these, but this one is definitely the most bustling in town. There's Target, Starbucks, Five Guys, Red Rock Canyon Grill, all this stuff that didn't used to be there whenever I moved here a long time ago, and now it's just being built up. And there's also different apartments. They're building places for seniors to live as well. There's also a Crest down there. That's a grocery store. And then we have another grocery store on our left here. It's Homeland. It's like an Albertsons. This street is 24th Avenue Northwest. And if you're thinking, man, there's a lot of different numbered streets and different directions for them. Yes, that's right. And it does get very confusing sometimes. Coming up, we're at Interstate Drive. So we have already hit I-35. But Robinson does go quite a bit past I-35, unlike a street like Lindsay. So you can see can see the interstate. We have a little bit of construction happening. So down here on our right is a shopping center, different handy things, Domino's, one of the smaller liquor stores that I tend to go to. And then on our left is an old theater. So we're hitting West Side Norman. This interstate is North Interstate Drive in Robinson. The next one that you see right after it is Rambling Oaks and Crossroads and Robinson. There are neighborhoods on both sides of this. Very similar neighborhoods, and then also restaurants. So we're coming up on the Brookhaven area. So the intersection we're coming up to is 36th Avenue, northwest, of course. We have a couple of banks on my left. Actually, there's four. Yeah, there's 4 banks right here. And then the Brookhaven Shopping Center. And then coming up, of course, too, is the Brookhaven Neighborhood. So if you haven't been to my Brookhaven video and watched that neighborhood tour, I highly suggest that you do that. I will link it here. So there is a Starbucks in that little Brookhaven Shopping Center, some stores, some of our favorite restaurants, and then this street, of course, is Brookhaven Boulevard. So more about Brookhaven. So this was the first neighborhood on the west side of town to be developed. Started to be developed in the late 60s to early 70s, and so we'll find houses that are from the 1970s, and then some that are from the early 2000s, like the ones on my left, but the ones on my right are going to be much older. So we have a vast variety of homes. This is a pretty important neighborhood in Norman. Lots of people want to live here. Home prices appreciate really well, and it serves, so 3 different elementary schools actually serve the neighborhood. So we're coming up on a little dip, meaning that we're going to drive down this hill and enter the flats. So on my left, again, is another neighborhood. This isn't Brookhaven, it's actually Manor Hill, but it's connected to Brookhaven. More Brookhaven on my right. And you see how we're going down. We're going down into the floodplain. So this is 48th Avenue Northwest. So we've got a big old hayfield on my right and a really nice neighborhood called Arbor Lakes on my left. I have a video about Arbor Lakes as well. So what happens to Robinson here in a moment is it's going to make a right turn, and you can easily get basically to the very south end of Oklahoma City from there. So that's where we're going. This is all open pasture because you can't build houses. It floods too much. You'll even be able to see water here on my right, a lot of it, even though it really hasn't rained. In around 5 days, I think. It's a big ranch on my left. So we're about to hit that turn. So thank you so much for watching. I really suggest that you watch this video next.